13 stars of The Mary Tyler Moore Show once made America laugh, but their real endings were steeped in tragedy. Fame could not shield them from heartbreak, loss, and untimely farewells. Watch closely, some stories may shock you more than the scripts ever did. Number 1. Mary Tyler Moore. On Wednesday, January 25, 2017, the world awoke to the news that Mary Tyler Moore had taken her final bow. She was 77 years old when she died at a hospital in Greenwich, Connecticut. The cause, a cardiopulmonary arrest brought on by pneumonia. For a woman whose smile once defined American optimism, the end was sudden, clinical, and unbearably final. Doctors and nurses tried to save her, but the frail body that had carried decades of pressure and illness could not recover. Mary Tyler Moore was born in Brooklyn in 1936, raised in California, and discovered early that television was her stage. She first captured the public eye as the charming Laura Petrie in The Dick Van Dyke Show, her capri pants and quick wit reshaping what an American housewife looked like on screen. Then came the role that would immortalize her, Mary Richards, the independent woman making her way in the Minneapolis newsroom. From 1970 until 1977, she tossed her hat in the air and made audiences believe in the promise of self-reliance and joy. Yet beyond the applause, her private life carried shadows. She struggled with type 1 diabetes from her early 30s, fought alcoholism, and endured personal heartbreaks, including the tragic death of her only son, Richard, in a gun accident in 1980. These wounds never truly healed, though she masked them with poise whenever the camera rolled. Her marriages faltered, her health declined, but she always returned to work, determined to embody resilience for the millions who still look to her as a symbol of hope. The announcement of her death reverberated across Hollywood and beyond. Colleagues remembered her as a pioneer who changed television, an actress who gave women permission to laugh at themselves and stand taller in a world that often tried to shrink them. Fans gathered outside her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, leaving flowers and handwritten notes. News broadcasts replayed that iconic freeze frame of her hat in midair, a gesture now forever tinged with sadness. Mary Tyler Moore's legacy rests in that contradiction. She was the woman who made it after all, yet her own journey was marked by battles invisible to the audience. Her story is a reminder that behind every bright smile lies the possibility of sorrow, and behind every curtain call, an ending none of us can escape. Number 2. Betty White. On Friday, December 31st, 2021, just weeks shy of her 100th birthday, Betty White passed away at her home in Brentwood, California. The beloved actress, whose face had been a fixture on American screens for more than 7 decades, died of a cerebrovascular accident, commonly known as a stroke. The timing felt cruel, as if fate had stolen away the chance for fans to celebrate her centennial, a milestone the nation had been preparing to honor. Her death was met with disbelief, for she had always seemed untouchable, a fountain of wit and light. Betty White was born in Oak Park, Illinois, in 1922, and she began her career in radio before moving into television at a time when the medium itself was still finding its voice. She became a trailblazer behind the camera as one of the first women to produce her own sitcom in the 1950s. Her sharp comedic timing found its greatest showcase as Sue Ann Nivens on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, where she transformed the sugary smile of a homemaker into a razor-sharp weapon of satire. Audiences laughed, critics applauded, and her peers recognized that she had mastered the art of being both charming and subversive. Her career did not fade after the newsroom lights went out. She reinvented herself with the Golden Girls in the 1980s, once again proving she could embody a character that captured the spirit of an entire generation. In her later years, she became an internet darling, adored by young fans who discovered her through reruns, memes, and her unapologetic humor on late-night shows. Betty White was proof that longevity could be coupled with relevance, that an actress could keep redefining herself until the very end. News of her passing rippled across the world. Crowds gathered with flowers, the Hollywood sign was lit in her honor, and countless tributes poured in from fellow actors, presidents, and ordinary fans. Social media turned into a living memorial, each post a memory of laughter she had gifted. Even in her absence, her presence was everywhere. Her story carries a question that lingers with a bittersweet edge. How does someone who seemed eternal leave so suddenly, leaving us with silence where there was once laughter? What do you remember most about Betty White's extraordinary journey? Share your memory in the comments below. Number 3. Ed Asner. On Sunday, August 29, 2021, Ed Asner died peacefully at his home in Tarzana, California. He was 91 years old, and the cause was natural, his long life finally reaching its quiet conclusion. For the man who had once embodied the gruff but tender heart of Lou Grant, it was an ending that felt both fitting and profoundly sad. His family announced the news with a simple message, leaving admirers across the world to reflect on the loss of a television giant. Ed Asner was born in Kansas City, Missouri, in 1929, the youngest of 5 children in a working-class family. He discovered acting while studying at university and went on to hone his craft in Chicago's theater scene before moving into television and film. His career would span more than 6 decades, but nothing defined him quite like Lou Grant. On The Mary Tyler Moore Show, he gave the newsroom its tough, whiskey-voiced boss, a man who barked orders but revealed a surprising depth of compassion. Audiences fell in love with the complexity he brought, and the character proved so rich that it carried into a spin-off drama, Lou Grant, which won acclaim of its own. His achievements were staggering. 7 Primetime Emmy Awards placed him among the most honored actors in television history. He voiced beloved animated characters, most famously Carl Fredricksen in Pixar's Up, a performance that introduced him to an entirely new generation. Off-screen, he became an outspoken activist, taking stands on labor rights, foreign policy, and political issues that often sparked controversy, but never wavered from his convictions. Behind the commanding presence was a man who lived for his craft. He worked tirelessly well into his 80s and 90s, proving that age could not dim his love for performance. Colleagues often spoke of his generosity on set, his willingness to guide younger actors, and his insistence that every role deserved honesty. When the news of his death spread, tributes poured in from across the entertainment world. Fellow actors, producers, and fans remembered him as more than Lou Grant, more than a voice, more than an activist. They remembered him as a force of nature, a man who demanded excellence and offered humanity in equal measure. His absence left a silence that felt larger than life, a reminder that some figures are not merely performers, but institutions in themselves. Number 4, Cloris Leachman. On Wednesday, January 27th, 2021, Cloris Leachman died at her home in Encinitas, California. She was 94 years old, and the cause was a stroke compounded by natural age-related decline. The announcement brought an outpouring of grief from Hollywood, for she had been one of its most versatile performers, capable of slipping between comedy and tragedy with equal brilliance. Her final moments were described as peaceful, closing the curtain on a life that had been both dazzling and tumultuous. Cloris Leachman was born in Des Moines, Iowa, in 1926, and grew up with a love for the stage that carried her to Chicago and then to New York. After winning the Miss Chicago pageant, she trained at the Actors Studio, a place that honed her dramatic instincts. Though she appeared in early television dramas and Broadway productions, it was her role as Phyllis Lindstrom on The Mary Tyler Moore Show that gave her national recognition. With her sharp tongue, neurotic energy, and perfect timing, she turned the meddlesome neighbor into an unforgettable figure of television comedy. Her talent could not be contained by one role. She won an Academy Award for her searing performance in The Last Picture Show in 1971, proving she could move effortlessly from sitcoms to the silver screen. She later reprised Phyllis in her own spin-off series and went on to a career that included over 200 screen credits. Each performance carried her signature unpredictability, a sense that the audience never quite knew what she might do next. She became one of the most decorated actresses in Emmy history, collecting 8 awards across decades of work. Her career spanned Mel Brooks comedies, animated voice roles, dramatic television, and even reality competition shows in her later years. Behind the wild humor and bold choices was a woman who lived with fierce independence, raising 5 children and continuing to work tirelessly even as she aged. The news of her death struck deeply because Cloris Leachman seemed timeless. Colleagues remembered her fearlessness, her ability to push boundaries, and her refusal to play it safe. Fans celebrated her for making them laugh, cry, and often both in the span of a single performance. Her departure left behind a silence that echoed across stages and screens, a reminder that her brand of fearless artistry is irreplaceable. Number 5, Valerie Harper. On Friday, August 30th, 2019, Valerie Harper died at the age of 80 in Los Angeles, California. She had been battling leptomeningeal carcinomatosis, a rare form of cancer that spreads to the membrane surrounding the brain and spinal cord. For 6 years, she had fought with extraordinary courage after doctors once told her she had only months to live. Her passing, though expected, still shocked and saddened countless fans who had admired not only her talent but also her resilience. Valerie Harper was born in Suffern, New York in 1940 and grew up moving between New Jersey, Oregon, and California. She began her career as a dancer on Broadway, appearing in productions such as Lil, Abner, and Wildcat before transitioning into acting. Her breakthrough came in 1970 when she was cast as Rhoda Morgenstern on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. With her sharp wit, down-to-earth humor, and endearing vulnerability, she quickly became a fan favorite. Rhoda represented a new kind of television woman, funny, flawed, and deeply relatable. The character was so beloved that she earned her own spin-off, Rhoda, which premiered in 1974 and became a cultural hit. Valerie Harper's portrayal won her 4 Primetime Emmy Awards and a Golden Globe, cementing her place in television history. She became a symbol of female friendship and independence, qualities that resonated strongly during a decade of social change. Audiences felt as though they knew her personally, laughing and crying alongside her week after week. Her life away from the screen was marked by both triumphs and trials. She was an outspoken activist, lending her voice to causes ranging from women's rights to labor unions. She faced financial struggles, legal disputes, and above all, health challenges that would have broken lesser spirits. Yet Valerie Harper met each obstacle with humor and grace, insisting on living fully despite the weight of her prognosis. She often said she did not fear dying, only not living. The day she passed, tributes poured in from every corner of Hollywood. Former co-stars remembered her generosity, fans recalled her warmth, and critics praised her lasting influence on television comedy. Her legacy endures in every laugh track, every rerun, and every woman who dares to live honestly on screen. Valerie Harper's story is one of courage, of art, and of a spirit that refused to surrender until the very end. Number 6, Ted Knight. On Tuesday, August 26, 1986, Ted Knight died at the age of 62 in Los Angeles, California. The cause was complications from colon cancer, a disease he had been battling quietly while still working. His death came as a painful shock, for he had only recently enjoyed renewed fame and seemed to have many more years left to share his humor with the world. The sudden loss of his booming laugh and comic energy left a void that could not be filled. Ted Knight was born Tadeusz Władysław Konopka in Terryville, Connecticut, in 1923. He served in the United States Army during the Second World War before studying acting and beginning his career in theater and small television roles. He often played stern authority figures or comic villains, but it was not until he was cast as Ted Baxter on The Mary Tyler Moore Show that his genius for satire shone. As Ted Baxter, the vain, bumbling anchorman of the newsroom, he created one of the most memorable characters in television history. His perfect blend of arrogance and cluelessness made him the butt of countless jokes, yet his delivery was so sharp that audiences adored him. The role earned him 2 Primetime Emmy Awards and made his name a household fixture throughout the 1970s. Even those who never watched the show knew the type of pompous broadcaster he so brilliantly embodied. After the series ended, Ted Knight continued his career with notable success. He starred in the sitcom Too Close for Comfort, bringing his unique timing and fatherly presence to a new generation of viewers. On the big screen, he appeared in Caddyshack in 1980, once again displaying his flair for comedic exaggeration as Judge Smails. His ability to make audiences laugh seemed endless, and his popularity was soaring when illness struck. The news of his passing was devastating to colleagues and fans alike. Cast members from The Mary Tyler Moore Show spoke of his kindness and humility, qualities often hidden beneath the buffoonish characters he portrayed. Admirers gathered to celebrate his work, remembering not just the punchlines but the warmth he brought to every set. Ted Knight's legacy remains in the echoes of laughter he created, a reminder that comedy can leave behind something eternal, even when the man himself departs too soon. Number 7, Gavin MacLeod. On Saturday, May 29th, 2021, Gavin MacLeod died at the age of 90 in Rancho Mirage, California. The cause was reported as natural, his health having declined after years of battling illness. His passing marked the end of a career that had spanned more than half a century, a career that carried him from supporting roles on television to international recognition as the captain of one of the most beloved shows of its era. Gavin MacLeod was born Alan George C. in Mount Kisco, New York, in 1931. He studied acting at Ithaca College and after graduating began working in theater before moving into film and television. In the 1960s, he appeared in movies such as Operation Petticoat and The Sand Pebbles, often cast as a character actor with a knack for wit and warmth. But his greatest fame would come on television, first with The Mary Tyler Moore Show, then with The Love Boat. As Murray Slaughter, the witty news writer in the Minneapolis newsroom, he brought humor, compassion, and an undercurrent of quiet dignity to The Mary Tyler Moore Show. His character was the voice of reason amid chaos, the friend and confidant to Mary Richards, and a subtle presence who made the ensemble shine brighter. His performance, though often understated, won the affection of millions and made him a familiar face in households across America. When the series ended, Gavin MacLeod stepped into an entirely new role as Captain Merrill Steubing on the Love Boat. For nearly a decade, he guided the iconic cruise ship through weekly adventures that mixed comedy, romance, and lighthearted drama. The show became a global sensation, airing in more than 90 countries and cementing his place as one of television's most recognizable stars. Away from the screen, his life carried both hardship and redemption. He faced struggles with alcoholism that strained his first marriage, but he later found strength in his faith and became a devout Christian, using his platform to inspire others. He wrote books about his spiritual journey and devoted time to charitable causes, showing the depth of the man behind the roles. The news of his death brought an outpouring of love from fans and colleagues who remembered him not just as Murray or Captain Steubing, but as a generous soul who gave joy to generations. His laughter, warmth, and humanity continue to sail on, carried in the memories of those who welcomed him into their living rooms week after week. Number 8. John Amos. On Wednesday, August 21st, 2024, John Amos died at the age of 84 in Los Angeles, California. The cause of death was complications following heart failure, an ailment he had been struggling with for several months. His passing was felt deeply across the entertainment world, for his presence had carried both strength and humanity in every role he played. Audiences who had grown up with his characters grieved the loss of a man who had defined an era of television. John Amos was born in Newark, New Jersey in 1939. Before acting, he pursued athletics, playing college football, and later signing with professional teams, though injuries ended his sports career. Turning to the stage, he found his calling in performance, developing a commanding presence that would become his trademark. His breakthrough came when he joined the Mary Tyler Moore Show in the early 1970s as Gordie Howard, the affable weatherman who charmed viewers with his humor and calm demeanor. Though a supporting role, his work stood out and he quickly became a familiar face in American households. His career soared further when he was cast as James Evans Sr. on Good Times, where he portrayed a proud, hard-working father navigating the struggles of a Chicago family. The role resonated with millions, offering a rare and powerful depiction of African-American life on network television. Later, his acclaimed performance in the groundbreaking miniseries Roots earned him Emmy recognition and cemented his place as one of the most respected actors of his generation. Beyond the screen, John Amos was known for his outspoken nature and his insistence on authenticity in the roles he accepted. He often clashed with producers when he felt characters were being written unfairly or without dignity, a stance that cost him opportunities but won him enduring respect. His dedication to truth and integrity made him a beloved figure, not only to audiences but to fellow actors who admired his courage. When news of his death spread, tributes celebrated his decades of work, from sitcoms to dramas to stage performances. Colleagues remembered him as a mentor and a trailblazer, someone who demanded excellence in his craft and left a legacy that stretched far beyond the confines of television. John Amos's passing closed the chapter on a career rich with meaning, but his voice and spirit continued to echo in the stories he told and the lives he touched. Number 9. Georgia Engel. On Friday, April 12, 2019, Georgia Engel died in Princeton, New Jersey at the age of 70. The cause of death was complications from an undisclosed illness, one she had chosen to keep private. Her passing came quietly, much like the gentle character she often portrayed, leaving fans stunned at the silence where her soft voice had once brought laughter. Friends and colleagues described her final days as peaceful, yet the news carried a weight of sorrow that spread quickly through the entertainment world. Georgia Engel was born in Washington, D.C. in 1948. She studied drama at the University of Hawaii before making her way onto the stage in regional theater and Broadway musicals. Her delicate features and distinctive, high-pitched voice soon caught the attention of casting directors. In 1972, she joined the Mary Tyler Moore Show as Georgette Franklin, the sweet-natured girlfriend and later wife of Ted Baxter. With impeccable timing and an innocent charm, she turned what might have been a minor role into one of the most memorable parts of the series. Her portrayal of Georgette became iconic, a perfect counterbalance to the bluster of Ted Baxter. Audiences adored her quiet wit, her kindness, and the subtle humor she could deliver with just a single line. Though she never sought the spotlight, her talent ensured that she would be remembered as one of the show's most enduring treasures. She earned 2 Emmy nominations for the role, proof that her understated style left a powerful impression. After the series ended, Georgia Engel continued to shine in television. She appeared on Everybody Loves Raymond, The Office, and Hot in Cleveland, each time winning audiences with her unique presence. She also performed in stage productions and lent her voice to animated films, showing her range and versatility. Off-screen, she lived a private, modest life, devoted to her Christian Science faith and her close circle of friends. The news of her passing brought heartfelt tributes from across Hollywood. Cast members remembered her as gentle, funny, and deeply kind, a woman who lifted every room she entered. Fans shared memories of her warm voice and unforgettable smile, symbols of comfort in an often harsh world. Georgia Engel's death may have been quiet, but her legacy remains radiant, an echo of kindness that continues to soften hearts even in her absence. Number 10, Nancy Walker. On Wednesday, March 25, 1992, Nancy Walker died at the age of 69 in Studio City, California. The cause was lung cancer, a disease that had gradually taken her strength even as she continued to work. Her passing cut short a career that had stretched across stage, film, and television, and the news left Hollywood mourning the loss of a woman whose sharp wit and boundless energy had touched audiences for decades. Nancy Walker was born in Philadelphia in 1922. She began performing in her teenage years, her small stature and expressive face setting her apart on the Broadway stage. In 1941, she made her Broadway debut in Best Foot Forward, earning attention that soon led to a film contract in Hollywood. She spent the 1940s appearing in musicals, but her greatest fame would come years later when she returned to television, where her comic timing proved unmatched. On The Mary Tyler Moore Show, she appeared as Ida Morgenstern, the meddling yet loving mother of Rhoda. With her sharp delivery and no-nonsense presence, she became a fan favorite, perfectly embodying the exasperated yet endearing parent. Though a recurring role, her impact was lasting, and she later continued as the same character on the spin-off series Rhoda. Her ability to draw laughs with a single glance or gesture made her unforgettable in every appearance. Her career extended far beyond one character. Nancy Walker starred in her own sitcoms, directed episodes of television, and became a familiar face in commercials, most famously as Rosie the Waitress in a series of ads that ran for years. She also directed the film Can't Stop the Music in 1980, a cult favorite that showcased her willingness to take risks behind the camera. Her versatility ensured she remained in demand, a performer who could handle slapstick and sincerity with equal ease. When she died in 1992, tributes came from co-stars and friends who remembered her tireless dedication and infectious humor. She was praised as a pioneer for women in comedy, a performer who broke through barriers in a field often dominated by men. Fans cherished her warmth and the way she could find humor in the everyday. Nancy Walker's legacy endures in the laughter she created, a reminder that even brief moments on screen can live forever in the hearts of those who watched. Number 11, Harold Gould. On Saturday, September 11, 2010, Harold Gould died at the Motion Picture and Television Hospital in Woodland Hills, California. He was 86 years old, and the cause was prostate cancer. His death ended a career that had spanned more than 5 decades, one filled with countless roles that showcased his range, from drama to comedy, from stage to television. For fans who cherished his gentle demeanor and wry smile, the news was a sorrowful farewell to a beloved character actor. Harold Gould was born in Schenectady, New York in 1923. He served in the United States Army during the Second World War before pursuing higher education, eventually earning a doctorate in theater. His path led him to teaching, but the lure of performance proved too strong, and he began appearing in regional productions before breaking into television and film in the 1960s. His classic look and graceful presence made him a natural for roles that required both dignity and humor. On The Mary Tyler Moore Show, he appeared as Martin Morgenstern, the father of Rhoda. Though not a main character, his warmth and gentle delivery brought depth to the family dynamic. He reprised the role on the spin-off Rhoda, where his portrayal of a caring and slightly exasperated father earned him further admiration. Audiences embraced him as the kind of man who felt familiar, like someone they knew in their own lives. Beyond that series, Harold Gould enjoyed a career filled with memorable appearances. He acted in films such as The Sting and Love and Death, and became a regular on television with recurring roles in shows like The Golden Girls and The Feather and Father Gang. His ability to move effortlessly between comedy and drama made him one of the most respected character actors of his time. When the news of his death spread, colleagues described him as a consummate professional and a kind soul who elevated every production he joined. Fans remembered his twinkling eyes, his elegant style, and the comfort he brought in every role. His departure was felt deeply by those who admired his steady presence across decades of American entertainment. What moment from Harold Gould's career stays with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments and keep his memory alive through the stories he left behind. Number 12. Nanette Fabray. On Thursday, February 22, 2018, Nanette Fabray died at the age of 97 in Palos Verdes, California. The cause was natural, her long life finally reaching a quiet end. Her death closed the chapter on a career that had touched Broadway, Hollywood, and television, and left behind the memory of a performer who was as resilient as she was gifted. News of her passing was met with respect and affection, for she had been a pioneer in many ways. Nanette Fabray was born in San Diego in 1920. She began dancing as a child, performing in vaudeville before moving to Broadway. Her breakthrough came in the musical High Button Shoes in 1947, where her comic skill and graceful movement made her a star. In 1951, she won a Tony Award for her performance in Love Life, cementing her place among Broadway's brightest talents. She later transitioned to television and film, where her versatility and warmth won her new audiences. On The Mary Tyler Moore Show, she appeared as Dottie Richards, the mother of Mary. Though her appearances were brief, her presence added depth and authenticity to the family dynamic, and her gentle humor made her character memorable. She carried herself with the poise of a seasoned performer, and her work reminded viewers of the long tradition of stage actors who brought their craft to television. Her career stretched far beyond one role. Nanette Fabray appeared in films such as The Bandwagon opposite Fred Astaire, showcasing her skills as both dancer and actress. On television, she worked with Sid Caesar and later co-starred with Shelley Fabares, her real-life niece, in One Day at a Time. She also became an advocate for the deaf and hard of hearing community after overcoming her own hearing loss with the help of surgery, using her platform to bring awareness to the issue. When she died in 2018, tributes highlighted not just her talent but her courage. She had faced personal challenges with determination and had turned her struggles into opportunities to help others. Fans remembered her radiant smile, her elegant performances, and the dignity she carried in every role. Nanette Fabray's passing marked the end of an era, but her legacy endures in the stages she lit up and the lives she inspired through her art and her advocacy. Number 13. Jack Cassidy. On Sunday, December 12, 1976, Jack Cassidy died in a fire at his West Hollywood apartment. He was 49 years old, and the blaze was said to have been caused by a lit cigarette that ignited the couch as he slept. Firefighters discovered his body among the ruins, and the sudden, violent nature of his death shocked Hollywood. A man known for his charm, wit, and stage presence was gone in an instant, leaving behind heartbreak and unanswered questions. Jack Cassidy was born in Richmond Hill, New York in 1927. He began his career on Broadway, where his rich voice and magnetic charisma made him a natural leading man. He won a Tony Award in 1964 for his role in She Loved Me, and went on to become a fixture of both stage and screen. In film and television, he often played suave villains or sophisticated men, roles that perfectly matched his polished demeanor. On The Mary Tyler Moore Show, he appeared as Hal Baxter, the brother of Ted Baxter, in the episode Cover Boy. His performance was marked by the same wit and elegance that had defined his stage work, And though a guest role, it left a lasting impression on viewers. His appearance on the show was just one chapter in a career filled with memorable parts across countless productions. Beyond his professional success, Jack Cassidy's personal life was complex. He was married twice, first to actress Evelyn Ward and later to Shirley Jones, with whom he had 3 sons, including future stars David, Sean, and Patrick Cassidy. Despite his outward charm, he struggled with personal demons, including bipolar disorder and heavy drinking, battles that weighed heavily on his later years. The night of his death became one of the most infamous tragedies of 70s Hollywood. News of the fire spread quickly, and colleagues mourned a man whose talent had seemed limitless, but whose life was cut short by misfortune. His legacy lived on through his children, who carried his artistic spirit into their own careers, and through the roles that captured his unique mix of sophistication and danger. Jack Cassidy's story closed the curtain too soon, but his brilliance endures in every performance he left behind. Thank you for watching and keeping these memories alive. Do not forget to subscribe so you never miss the stories that shaped Hollywood. Until next time, take care, and we will see you again in the next video.